Hello and welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Bryan, and you are watching Game Brigade. Today on the show, we're going to be doing a review of Spirits of the Forest Moonlight, which is currently on Kickstarter. If you are new to the channel, we do reviews, previews, and playthroughs of your favorite games. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing and helping the channel out. So let's go ahead and take a look at the campaign real quick. Let's bring her up and see what we have to offer here. So this is day 1 of 15 on the campaign. This is, note, a shortened campaign. Generally you'll see campaigns around 20 or 30 days. So at 15 days, you don't have as much time to make a decision. Hopefully this video will help you make that decision, and leave a comment down below if it does. So we're currently, like I said, day 15, day 1. We have 2,300 backers. We're at 98,000 on the pledge amount, but if we click the converted goal, that shows it's 86,000 euros. It's important to note because all of the stretch goals will be in euros. So if it says, you know, a number, you need to make sure that it's not using dollars, it's using euros. So Spirits of the Forest is a tile drafting game where you have a board. Let's see if we have, here we go. You have your board here set up, and the way it works is each player will take the most left or right exposed tile, forming pairs of some sorts, and you have a bunch of different spirits of the forest that will have that you'll be basically making pairs of those, as well as there are elements that add up into those additional power, you know, the scoring. It's hard to explain. I'm not here to explain the game, but I'm trying to give you a rough idea of how it works. So this expansion changes the game by adding in this light and dark meeple, which will be moving their way across the board here, and it changes the way that you're able to draft the tiles in the game, which is great. And they have a really nice little run through much further down. If you'd like a really thorough explanation of how these meeples traverse against the board and how that affects your gameplay, I would recommend that. And there's also plenty of how to learn games of Spirits of the Forest. But just note, the system's pretty simple. It's it's simple in the sense that there are it's not complicated to teach, but there are a lot of ways that you can play this game and maximize different types of strategies. One of the coolest parts of this game, there's two features that I think are really neat, are the game, whenever you're playing a game that incentivizes you to collect a massive amount of a certain type of something. Like, let's say I need to collect 12 as many bananas or apples or fruit of some sort, right? You know, as a player, we want to maximize, well, I want to get as many bananas as I can. I want to maximize that. So this game, though, wants to make sure that you're also getting at least one of every spirit, while also trying to maximize getting the most of a specific spirit. Because if you do not get at least one spirit at the end of the game, you are docked points for those missing spirits. So it's an interesting combination of incentivizing you to maximize going for a single spirit, but you also need to understand that you have to diversify your portfolio and get as many spirits as you can. There's also an element with these little gems down here where you can place them on a tile to kind of save that tile. You know, let's say you're like, well, I want this tile and I want to make sure I get that when it comes back around. So you put your little crystal on it, or your egg, and that signifies that that's what you're wanting. So it tells all the other players, you know, that's reserved for me. But the other players can still take that tile, but they have to discard one of their own crystals and return that to the box. So they won't be able to save, you know, a tile for themselves in the future, but they were able to stop you from getting the tile you wanted. I think there's a really cool risk reward system there. So there's obviously more complex aspects to this game, and the fact that it's wrapped into a 30 to 45 minute, 50 minute game is really good. It's one of those palate cleanser games, I like to call, where you can bring this game out. You can either bring it at the beginning of a game night or at the end of the game night, and play 1 or 2 games before you go into like a 3-hour slog. Or if you just finished a 3-hour slog, this is a great little game to be like, let's relax and play this real quick. I think there's a lot to this. So let's scroll on down to the pledge levels here and talk about each one of these. So as I mentioned earlier, this Moonlight edition is an expansion to the standard Spirits of the Forest game. So if you already have Spirits of the Forest, this is a way for you to upgrade your copy higher. Now they have it for the cardboard edition. There's also 2 different versions of this expansion. They'll have wood and then they have cardboard. And then you have to decide, how do you want, like, what does it mean to you to have those upgraded components? So for the Moonlight Cardboard Edition, you'll be getting the wooden nocturnal creatures, which is great that they're giving those to you in wood, and everything else will be cardboard. So your objective, your token bits, these will all be cardboarded, as well as these cards. And then you have your Moonlight Journal, which I believe is scenarios that you can complete. There'll be unique builds of the map. Instead of just doing a standard square, you'll have unique builds. And then we have, if we scroll on down, this is the base game plus the Moonlight Cardboard Bundle. So if you are interested in getting the original game plus this in cardboard, you're looking at 30 euros. I think this is a good buy because when I searched this game, you can currently buy Spirits of the Forest cardboard for around $20 to $25, mostly $25 if on average. So for $5, I mean, it's hard because I don't know the conversions here between euro and dollar off the top of my head, but for $30, for 30 euros, you can get the base game plus the Moonlight Cardboard Bundle. You're just going to have to factor in shipping, but this gets you both of them plus whatever the shipping costs will be at a reasonable price, which I think is really good. It's actually very, very decently priced. If we scroll down, then we have the Moonlight Wooden Edition, 26 euros. You can see this by itself is basically the price of the combined game. It's interesting, and this will get you all these tokens, but converted to wood. So you're going to have your wooden tiles, your wooden meeples, your tokens and wooden, and you're going to have these moonlit bits. Now these are, I believe, available as a pledge on. We'll check. Don't quote me on that one unless I'm right. Then quote me on it. And then if we come down here, we have the base plus the Moonlight Wooden Bundle, which gets you both copies of the wooden version, and you get everything wooden. But this also includes your score pad, your player stones. You get a whole bunch of expansions for free thrown in there. The Seasons mini expansions, the Air Spirit mini expansion. So this value here at 60 euros, I think that's a very good value. I think, to me, you want to get the deluxe version if you're looking for resale value. Most people who are going to be wanting this game in the future, like if they're like, I want that game, they're going to be looking for the deluxe version of Spirits of the Forest. So in terms of resale value, if you're someone who wants to buy something and have a value on that for later, I think this is the only one that I would recommend going to, unless you already have the deluxe version. And then of course, I think the wooden token one is great. This one is okay. I just don't think I don't think I'm getting enough for this, especially for me, where I want to have a very strong collection. I feel like this wooden one is a much stronger option. So the stretch goals, if we scroll on down to the stretch goals, we have a few that are already unlocked. The stretch goals are being monetarily given, so it's going to be based on the amount of euros that we have so far earned. So we have 3 new Moonlight cards. We have an AI improvement and special avatar for that. They have a new scenario and Moonlight bit, which is this little owl looking guy. And then we have some new objective cards. And I believe these are for the competitive version of this game, because it's giving you more of like goals they're trying to reach and whatnot. And then they have foil on the retail and deluxe boxes, which is great, make those boxes a little prettier. So if we scroll on down here, though, you can see 86 euros, 86,000, 94,000. We still have a little bit more to go, and of course they'll probably release more as we get closer through here. And then the final one is 106 euros. So here we have some great videos. I recommend checking these out. If you're interested about the games at all or how they play, I recommend checking them out. They're also going to be including a digital version of the game. If you're interested in playing this on your phone, having it available, they're going to be developing this. I'm 50-50 on that. I probably, if I got this game, I'm not going to be totally like in love with the app. The last game app that I really played, funny enough, was Ascension, and it was okay. So I think it's great that they're wanting to provide this as a service to us, and we're not having to pay extra for it. It's just not for everyone, obviously. So, and then down here, they're going to say why back this on Kickstarter instead of waiting for retail. Well, this will be the last version of the wooden version. So if you're wanting this deluxe version of Spirits of the Forest, this will be, according to them right now, your last chance of getting it, as well as the exclusives. They're also going to give you the option of purchasing any of their back catalog games in the Pledge Manager, which is great. I think whenever a company says, here's our Pledge Manager for the current game, and you're going to be able to buy any of our other release titles to get it at that point if you miss those Kickstarters. I think it's really, really cool, especially if they're going to give you an option to get those deluxe versions of the games that had those deluxe version add-ons. So if we come down here, they do have a few add-ons which are interesting. I wish I knew more about how these affect. They have some ether stones for €6. The limited edition Moonlight bit. It just says, if you want to change the difficulty level by increasing, but I don't know specifically how this does that. Interesting to me. Then we have some extra stuff. This is if you have a specific language that you're speaking in, Spanish, German, French, Italian, for €5, you can get the instruction manual specifically for that language. The game itself is made in a way that it's language independent. It doesn't require a specific language, but the rule book will be obviously printed in English. So if you're wanting it in a different language, you're going to have to make sure you get the specific one for you. And then they have another expansion, which is good. And then the journal. So the last bit here before we talk our final thoughts is the shipping cost. They have zone shipping this time. So zone A, B, C, and D. Zone A is where the United States will fall in, but does not include the islands. So make sure you understand that. We're coming in, I'm going to be looking at the wooden edition because I think that's the most important, most valuable to me. For the bundle at €16, I think that's a relatively safe shipping cost. I'm usually used to 20 euro shipping cost. So coming in at 16 is not too bad. If you're looking for the solo game, €10 for cardboard, 12 for the wooden. So that is the shipping costs. I'll leave that here for people who are still taking a look before we zoom back up. Okay, so let's cut back to me and have our final thoughts. So Spirits of the Forest, what do you think? Is this a good back? I think it is. The company, I didn't actually mention who did it, who's doing the company. Man, I forgot the name of their company. I'm sorry. Sorry, Gonzo. I didn't remember the company name. Actually, I do want to bring up the company. So let's come back because the company is actually doing something really cool. So this is a little bit of a living by the fly, almost like we're streaming together. But I did want to bring up something that the company is doing that I recommend anyone who is interested in this game to follow along because it helps support the environment. So if we come down close to the bottom, I think it's right below shipping. Yeah. Right down here, the Thundergryph Club. So earn thunders and rewards. So they try to plant trees for every time we do something, they're going to be planting trees. And by doing so, they're going to give you thunder points as redeemable rewards. And it's free to join. And by joining and using this Moonlight code, you're going to get an additional 500 thunders. By joining, you get 1,000 thunders. So you get 1,500 thunders by joining. And then if you follow them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Twitch, it's going to help unlock a free scenario in the stretch goals. So Thundergryph is the company. So I apologize. Normally here on the right, it tells you the company name, but I just keep seeing Gonzalo here. So that's why I had a hard time remembering the company name. But Thundergryph has this awesome program. I wanted to make sure I highlighted it, so I'm actually kind of glad that I had to remember the name, because I might have forgotten to actually bring this up. So let's cut back to me and we'll talk of final thoughts again. So final thoughts on this game. I think that this, to me, is one of the safer backs. They have an issue currently on one of their other Kickstarters that is still in shipment, but it seems like they had a misprint or something happened into that campaign, and so they're trying to reprint a corrected version and get those out to their backers. But it sounds like a lot of backers have received their copies. There's just a few people who haven't. So I generally want to make sure whenever I'm backing a game that I go back and I look at the other campaigns and make sure that they are providing the product that they said they're going to provide. Because as backers, you know, we like to think we're investors, but we're not. We're just kind of pre-orders. But we are also trying to help bring a company, especially a smaller company like this, bring a game to life. So I think there's a lot of positives here. The gameplay looks good for 30 to 45 minute game. I think there's a lot to this. And I think it would be a great game for me to bring to the table for people that I want to bring to board gaming that might be a little bit more intimidated by games like Gloomhaven or Oathswarm. I think Spirits of the Forest is a great option to be like, hey, you know what? I've got a great game out. Let's try this real quick. And they're going to love the art. They're going to fall in love with the meeples. And it's just going to bring them in. Wingspan was that game for me. I think Spirits of the Forest, as well as their expansion of Moonlight, could be that game for me as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, remember to leave a comment and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you really want to support the channel, the like button, leave a big old thumbs up for us. It really helps support us with the YouTube algorithm. My name is Bryan. I'm with Game Brigade. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll talk to you soon.